All righty, it's 8 o'clock, and it's time to get started. I'm going to ask Representative Shaw Blackman to open us with prayer, please.
Thank you, sir. Please pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for the opportunity to come together today. Thank you for all the many blessings you've bestowed upon us. Please keep us ever mindful of the needs of others, and all things honor you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Okay, for those of you who are paying attention to the meeting notices, you received two additional ones that I think everybody liked. It took a couple of bills off the discussion this morning, but we do have one, Senate Bill 319, Senator John Albers. Senator, if you'll come up to the table.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning.
Good morning. Former Senator Hawkins and I have a little discussion up here, and he said he had a meeting with the governor at 8:30. I told him I didn't care. Senator, you got to have fun up here.
Absolutely.
Especially these last 4 days. No, you will be excused at 8:30, so you can go. No, it won't take long, hopefully not. We're going to read all 189 pages. Let me give you a little background on this. Senator passed this bill out of the Senate, and it came over, and the senator and I met in my office as it relates to this bill, and I told him I was going to have a substitute for it, and the senator brought another substitute late yesterday afternoon to my office. That's this version here. Senator, I also noticed that you've already attached your bill to House Bill 149.
Yes, sir, I did.
I guess you were anticipating what was going to happen today.
I had a pretty good idea, my friend.
Pretty good idea. We had a nice conversation the other day. In your blue folder is a substitute, and did you get a copy of that yesterday?
I did not, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what it does. It's a lot different than your substitute for 319, in that the substitute that you're looking at that's in your blue folder, LC 411567S. And the reason it has 40-something pages in it is all the cross references and definition of duties and this kind of stuff. But the simple fact of the matter is that bill does three things. It transfers the fire marshal, the deputy fire marshal, and the arson investigation from the insurance department to the firefighters Standards and Training Council. That's what this bill does. Senator Albers' bill 319 creates a new department. Senator, one of my suite mate there at the Capitol, Representative Andy Welch, who happens to be chairman of the Appropriations for Public Safety, has some real concerns on cost about your version. I would really recommend you talk to him if you haven't already.
I will certainly talk to him. I am actually his counterpart in the Senate. I manage that same part for appropriations.
Right.
In the Senate.
But I would recommend that you talk with him. What we're going to do, I have to leave at 1:15. I have to go to rules. You do too.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to allow you to briefly present your bill. and for goodness sake, don't read all 189 pages. And then I'm going to, after you've had a chance to present that, I'm going to make a motion that we accept our version, and then we'll discuss it. So after you go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. A lot of work has been done on creating the Office of the Fire Commissioner in Georgia over the last 5+ years, but it's gone back actually many years before that. I know that you have received, as well as I'm sure we get copies, that a group of people came together who have endorsed this bill, which are the Georgia Association of Fire Chiefs, the Georgia Association of Firefighters. We work closely with some representatives from the governor's office, from the Georgia Public Safety Training Center, from the state fire marshal's office, and everybody to come together. And that is the agreed upon one that I gave to you as a sub to Senate Bill 319. With unanimous support from all those people, this actually creates a streamlined agency, and I will definitely follow up with Chairman Welch, but this does not increase the size of government, nor does it increase the budget. In fact, it will do the exact opposite. It will shrink both, because today we need to go to 3 different places to get things, and pulling people together and agencies together would actually be an efficiency, not a cost to the state. We have worked very diligently to make sure that this would not become effective until July 1st of 2019. So when we did the big budget for next year, we'd be able to pull out the items. And again, there'd be no increase. It would just be a shifting cost, very similar to the way we do things today as we move positions between interagencies, which I know we all do. I did quite a bit of that this year in my part of the budget that I was responsible for. It extends the Fire Safety Board, so everyone would have the ability to participate. It creates the advisory board to make sure the industry is well connected with that. And it's important to have the fire service not be so bifurcated anymore and to come together. These are logical functions that work together. It also models what most other states do. Candidly, we're behind the times. I think this committee certainly over all other committees know the challenges that has happened in the State Insurance Commissioner's office. And I'm sure all of you have read the audit that happened last year as well. This is just one more reason why this needs to be put together in an area that would create continuity and it would create the opportunity for efficiency. Part of this premise also is how we support our more rural fire departments. Today, the larger departments have a lot of resources, right, when you get into the metro Atlanta area or the other large cities. However, that's not necessarily the case in the smaller ones. Yet the need for training, the need for people to help those folks out, the need to do fire marshal work and inspections are all still there. And we think this is a great way to take the organization and make it much more customer service focused. And I think at the end of the day, when you decide what we're going to do up here, when you have all your firefighters and your fire chiefs and those associations and all the folks involved who want this, I think that's a pretty strong statement for how we can move forward and provide better government, in this case, more importantly, better fire safety solutions. And I promise not to read the 188 other pages.
Thank you, sir. I can understand the movement of the fire marshal, deputy, and arson. Those other entities there that inspect fire doors, who inspect carnival rides, who inspect elevators, who inspect the production of mobile homes. The only reason they do that is so that those entities can get insurance, basically.
Well, if I could, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate that. That is certainly one component of it, but more so is to make sure that they're going to be safe for the folks that are riding those. We had, carnival.
But you have to have engineers, not firemen. You have to have engineers inspect those facilities, like carnival rides. It's not a regular firefighter who inspects it. It's an engineer.
Typically where I am, it's more of a fire marshal who goes out there and inspects those of how they've been put together, similar to elevators and others. But perhaps we've had some different scenarios that we've both seen.
Yeah, because in talking with the insurance department, those people are engineers who make those decisions.
I guess perhaps I've seen some different things. than
Okay,
that, So,
well, I understand. All right. And I appreciate we got number 16. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Albers, in your opening statement, you said this was a streamlining of government. So I'm assuming that we're reducing some agencies somewhere. What are we cutting out in order to bring these together?
well, we're shifting what's already there into another area. The streamlining part is today, when you want something from fire services, it's in 3 different buckets. This will be moving 2 of those together, right? So today, as an example, we have moved positions from agency to agency. We've moved them from community supervision, from corrections to different areas. And we'll do that sometimes because we believe there's better continuity when those positions are in different places. So all we're doing is moving the org and some of those folks in different areas, but it doesn't create or change the size of government. It creates efficiencies by the fact that these folks are now all working together as opposed to different verticals.
You also mentioned something about the audit of the insurance department as a reason for going to this. So connect those dots for me.
Well, I don't want to speak ill of our insurance department or company, but for those, or not company, but the state insurance office had significant challenges that were audited and shown to have major problems from the way they did accounting to payment to staffing. Folks were furloughed and some
But
folks were
wasn't
laid off.
that due to the incompetence of the person who was doing some of those financial bookkeeping?
I would say that there was probably a lot of folks that probably were not dotting i's and crossing t's.
Mhm.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Number 23.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just looking quickly, we just got this. The position of the commissioner, that will incur an additional expense. That is a new commission position, is that correct?
No, ma'am. The existing fire marshal will become the commissioner, and the assistant person that will become, quote, the fire marshals. There's
And
no
then will you
increase.
have an assistant fire marshal? So there will be a new person there somewheres?
No, ma'am. There's going to be no added people, personnel, or cost with this change.
Okay, and second, and follow-up is, I notice this is an appointed, right now, the position that covers this is an elected, so we will be appointing someone to this position?
Well,
Not
to-
an elected position, is that correct?
Today, the state insurance and fire commissioner is a statewide elected official, although typically the person in the past who has had that position really had very little or no knowledge, candidly, of the fire service. So really, it has been the fire marshal's office that has done that. But they will be appointed by the board, who is laid out in this bill.
But again, it is not an elected position.
Correct, and just for your edification, it is not in most every state either.
Thank you.
28.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator, you said in your opening statement that the various agencies, and you named them to include the insurance department, were in agreement with this. Is the State Safety Fire Commissioner in agreement with this bill?
No, sir, I did not mention the insurance commissioner's office was in agreement with this bill.
Well, you
I
said the
mentioned-
fire department.
So it is the State Firefighters Association, the State Fire Chiefs Association, the Georgia Public Safety Training Center, Standards and Training, as well as the Fire Marshal's Office participated in this together, but not the actual state commissioner, insurance commissioner.
The Fire Marshal's Office of the Insurance Commissioner?
He did participate in helping us to put this.
Is he in agreement with it as well?
He cannot take a position based on where he is at, but he helped to give us all this information to put it together.
All right, thank you.
That's interesting. Okay, with the understanding from the senator, and we, like I said, we've talked about this earlier, and that's the reason he's already added his language to House Bill 149. You have a substitute in your folder, LC 411567S. And like I said, it's 40-something pages, but basically all it does is transfer the fire marshal, the deputy fire marshal, and arson investigation to the Georgia Firefighter Standards and Training Council. I have talked with the insurance commissioner, and they are in agreement to this. So I would like a motion to, got a motion and a second to pass LC 411567S. All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. Thank you. Senator, we're gonna head with this direction. You knew this anyway.
Thank
So, but appreciate your work on this. We just have some differences of opinion, and that's all part of the process.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your work and that of your committee.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
You too.
I guess that concludes our meeting schedule. I think the rules chairman said anything that does not get to his office by Friday is, will not make it on next week's agenda. So if, just as a warning, if you have anything in any other committee, be sure that it gets to the rules office by Friday. Is there anything else anybody would like to add? Well, thank y'all. We'll enjoy this last meeting, and y'all have a good last 4 days.